Welcome to the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast, presented by 13 Fishing Canada. Make your own luck. We're here to scratch that angling itch and talk everything fishing. Join us as we sit down with special guests from across the industry. Now, here's your hosts, Logan Lewis
and Jesse Cadron.
Welcome to episode 100, the centennial episode, as Jesse is calling it, of the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast. I am your host, Logan Lewis, joined once again by my co-host, Jesse Cadron. How's she going?
It's going well, Logan. Just wrapped up a season at Lac La Marte, spent 81 days up there, and I'm on the journey home for a short amount of time, but I'm headed home nonetheless. I'm currently in a hotel room at High Level, Alberta. It feels weird to see people
again.
Yeah, and then darkness now too. It hasn't really been getting that dark lately. So
for anyone watching the episode on YouTube or Spotify, if you pay attention, I didn't notice it till the end, but it progressively gets darker. It was already dark when we started recording here for me and Moose Job, but you can tell that it gets darker as Jesse's recording there. So yeah, it's definitely a changing of the season here. We're getting into fall. Jesse's got Moose Camp coming up. We're going to have an episode talking about all of that stuff in the future here, as we've got to get some ready here, because he will be in the bush for about a month, something like that. So
yeah,
we'll be having that. But this is episode 100. We have Courtney Cherpin on. She is dealing, this whole episode deals with Sturgeon. We talk all about Sturgeon, lots of the stuff that she has going on and some of the projects that they're working on. And it was definitely a pretty interesting one. Me and Jesse admittedly didn't know as much about this. I don't know if it's
which was kind of fun going in blind. I kind of liked it. Yeah, it was super neat.
Yeah, well, I often wonder if some of the stuff we're talking about, depending on who's listening, are we just assuming that people know stuff? Well, when it comes into these kind of episodes, we don't really know a ton about it. Like, yeah, we know how to fish slates for them. What was that?
We're blank slates going in. Yeah.
Like we could talk about fishing for them, but this is kind of a different side of it. So this one was definitely interesting. Going to want to stay tuned. About a 45 to hour long interview, something like that. So it was definitely an interesting one. Learned a fair amount, and I think you're really going to enjoy that one. But before we hop into that interview, as always, want to mention the sponsors of the show. 13 Fishing Canada has been around for all 100 episodes of the podcast here, so huge thanks to them for being the presenting sponsor of the show. You can use the code Weekend Warriors, that's WKND Warriors, as always, to save 10. Is it 10 or 15%? I forgot.
I think it's 15. You always say 15.
Yeah. Save 50% off the entire website. You think I wouldn't have forgotten that, but
maybe
it's 15% confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah, confirmed 15% off the entire Rapala Canada website. Get ready for some fall fishing here. We're gonna have another pre-fish episode coming up, dealing with some fall fishing action. You can get some baits on there as well for that. Ships crazy quick. Save yourself a 15% off at checkout and get yourself some new stuff. Next up, Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation. Big thanks to them. They've been here pretty well since the start as well. Longtime sponsor of the show. Huge thanks to them. Get your membership. Submit your photos to the Master Angler program. With that membership, we always like to mention the magazine, the access to land, there's the insurance, lots of great stuff with that, and just a great community to be a part of. One that myself and Jesse both are a part of. And really good time. Put on lots of great events, tournaments for ice fishing, stuff like that all around the province. So great organization to be a part of, and very happy to have them on the podcast here as well for episode 100. I don't think we want to take up too much time for the intro here, but we're definitely excited to this one. At the top of the episode, also just want to say thanks to everyone who's always tuned in the episodes since the start. Anyone who's joined any time along the show means a lot, and it's been a lot of fun doing this for 100 episodes, and I guess we'll just see where this thing keeps going. But yeah, pretty excited about this one. Jesse, you have anything else before we head into this interview?
As crazy it is, it's like 35 degrees out today, and on my drive to High Level, I was honestly debating about purchasing a proper ice fishing suit
Okay.
for the coming up season. So we're looking at like a $600, $700 expenditure, 15% on that. That's $100 I could save if my math is kind of right. So, that doesn't sound too bad. That makes me pretty tempted to go forth with my purchase.
Yeah, I've been running the suit for a Strike Master suit there for, I don't know if it's, 3 years now, something like that, 3 seasons, and I've been very happy with it. You've seen me running around on the ice with it a little bit too. So, yeah, augers, suits, anything you can buy on the site, 15% off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thanks for bringing that one up. But yeah, I think we'll hop into episode 100, the interview for it with Courtney Cherpin, talking about sturgeon and everything revolving around that.
Today we are joined by Courtney Cherpin. And first off, I'd like to thank you for finding the time to do this podcast with us between all the research you're doing, all the places you're going, but also willing to share your findings of this great research that you're doing. So thank you right off the bat. And yeah, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do, then I'm sure the good people at home listening will know why you're here.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, guys. This is pretty exciting. I've never done anything like this before. I guess about me, I grew up in Saskatchewan and went to EDP in high school, go Trojans. And after that, I did 1 year at SciAst. I am that old. I'm not going to say how old. And for AutoBody, and I actually worked in that for about 12 years down in Radville. And the shop actually ended up closing. I decided I was going to go back to school, and I found this Natural Resource Technicians program, the Integrated Resource Management program. It's unreal. It's basically going to school for fishing and wildlife and birds, like wildfire. Like, it's unbelievable, the program itself. And from that, I got into working with sturgeon with the Water Security Agency through the summertime, and it's been the best job. Like, I can't explain how great it is.
You seem happy. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable job.
So is this just a summer job, or is this a full-time position? Like, are you still in school right now?
This is a summer position, yes. I'm looking to go back to the U of S to upgrade my diploma to a degree, and then see where else I go from there.
There you go. I am a former, or I guess not former. You're always an alumni once you're done, but I'm a U of S alumni. And Jesse, you went to school too, right?
Yeah, I did in Vermilion for environmental science.
Okay,
oh, nice.
So that works out well. No, that's awesome. Yeah, going to U of S and upgrading that, like you said. And so we were talking a bit before this episode actually started, but you said you had Becca, I guess was Becca Eberts, as your professor.
Yeah, Becca Perry. She's a brilliant professor. The fisheries management and fish ecology. I learned so much from her, and I was so grateful to have her as a teacher.
Yeah, no, for sure. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she was one of the OG research group students, right? With Chris Summers there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they did some great work and had published some great papers there.
Yeah, and still putting that stuff out there. And anyone who's listened to the show for a while knows we had Chris on a couple times, so some great research going on there. And it's nice to know. I know, like, Chris is really good about sharing lots of the sport fish research stuff, and kind of getting it out there on the socials. And that's why I'm kind of excited about this episode, because I didn't even know lots of this stuff was going on as far as with the sturgeon. Obviously, I figured there was stuff going on given how they're protected and everything like that. But would you mind kind of diving into what's going on, what you're working on a little bit?
So one of the main jobs that I have been a part of is sturgeon spawn assessment, where we go up to Saskatchewan River Forest where the North and the South Saskatchewan rivers meet, and we do adult spawn condition. So we'll catch them, tag them, measure them, kind of thing. And we also do the spawn assessment where we look for their eggs using drift nets and egg mats, so we can see when they're spawning and kind of like correlate that to temperature or flow regimes or whatever we find, whatever triggers them, kind of thing. And it's been pretty exciting to see what we find. We haven't found like a ton of eggs. I think only like 11 or so in the last 4 years, but it's really exciting when you do find an egg.
No kidding.
Yeah, no
11?
Yeah, that's crazy. Obviously, like, they are like, I don't know, as far as the population goes and everything, how are they looking? Like, is it just the eggs are hard to find, or are they having trouble reproducing as well?
Well, the population estimate is tricky. Like they're estimated to be at like around 4,200 in the Saskatchewan River system, but like give or take 15,000, so the numbers don't really make sense. The math isn't mathing.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's hard to establish an actual population. They are technically considered endangered by COSEWIC nationally, and like on the provincial level, they're imperiled, I guess, or the subnational rank, they're considered imperiled, which it means there's like 6 to 20 occurrences in 1,000 to 3,000 individuals, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Do,
like
do
this
you know
project's been
what's
going, or not, sorry, not this
sorry,
project.
do you
WSA has been looking for sturgeon and tagging them since 2007, and they've tagged just under 1,000, like 990 individuals, something like that. But it's
Okay.
crazy. There's only like 77 recaps or something like that. So it's really not a lot for as many as they've tagged.
Right. And
yeah.
not a lot for as many as you see on socials being caught as well.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many have been tagged and how many you see online with no tags in them and how many we catch with no tags in them. Like it's crazy to think that there's that many out there.
Yeah. So I guess that's why you say the math isn't mathing, right? Like you give or take
Yeah.
quite a bit with that.
Yeah. It's hard. It's really
Okay.
hard to determine that. But we're trying.
Yeah.
Sure.
No,
Yeah.
that's fair. Got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And do you know what year in Saskatchewan that the limits or like sturgeon became protected, when it was illegal to like catch and keep them?
I believe it was like it was in the 90s that you were still allowed to keep them. Like
Okay.
I want to say 96, don't quote me on that. But
Mhm.
it was in the 90s that you could still keep them.
That's kind of
So it
crazy to think about.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long that they've been protected.
Almost as long as I've been alive. I guess with that, I think it would be good to, would you have an idea, like be able to speak on the main problem that kind of led us to where we are now? Was it just anglers keeping sturgeon, or what was going on there?
Two huge reasons. The first one being overfishing, because they were like commercially fished for many years. Yeah, like in the 1800s and 1900s, like the populations were just decimated. Basically, when the settlers came over, they realized like almost how easy these fish were to catch, and that was a problem because they kept all the big ones, and that really hurt the populations because they took all the breeding females, the big ones. Like that doesn't help the sturgeon at all.
No.
Right, because they got to be pretty old to respawn or to spawn, don't they?
Yeah, they got to be like in their 20s. The females have to be like 25-ish to spawn. The males aren't as bad. They're like 12 to 20 years old, but the females can be like 15 to 30 years old before they start spawning, which is insane.
Wow.
Yeah, and
That's
so
crazy.
If you're keeping all the big ones, you're taking all your good breeders.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
doubt.
kidding.
Like that's literally a female that was born the year I was born could just be getting mature enough to spawn.
Yeah. So that's
so
not
basically
helping.
all the surviving sturgeon from when they shut the limits down and the fishing forum down are basically just reaching maturity and able to spawn and produce offspring, like basically now or within the last 10 years.
Yeah, basically, yeah. There are
that's
the
pretty
big ones,
nuts.
but there's so few and far between now. Excuse me.
And what would you classify as a big one, for size reference?
Like a really big one? I don't know. 60 is a good benchmark. 50 is a really good, like inches. That's a good benchmark. They're really nice ones, but those would be the ones that are just getting ready to spawn. Just being able to.
So at like 50 inches, that's just starting to get to a spawning female size.
Yeah. Well, it is really hard to determine their age by their size, but that's just a guesstimate by me.
Right.
But yeah, they're in trouble that way. Well, the other
that's
reason,
crazy.
The other thing that's really slowing them down is dams. They can't get to their spawning grounds. They can't travel upstream. They can't travel where they need to go. They're really like stuck. in between dams, between Gardner
Right.
Dam and like, what's the first one? E.B. Campbell, I think, is the first one on the Saskatchewan, but they can't get to where they did historically to spawn. So they have to find new places to spawn. Plus, dams themselves affect like the flow and the sediment regimes. So, like some of their spawning beds, like they like rocky, fast flowing waters, but their spawn beds get sedimented in, so they can't spawn there anymore. So they got to
Right.
find new places. So that's really not helping. And they don't spawn every year. That's another thing. It could be
It's
like,
not really a good biological way to continue, is
no, it's really not helping them. Like,
Well, it was
there's,
all fine and dandy till humans started messing it up.
yeah, like so many things.
No, that's true. So they would basically like, are they considered dinosaurs? I know everyone calls
I
them
call
that.
them dinosaurs.
Okay.
They've
They
been
look like
basically unchanged for 260 million years. Like, I'd call that a dinosaur.
Yeah. No, that's the definition, I would say, of of a
Yep.
dinosaur. And so with them spawning, is this something that's like widely unknown as far as sturgeon as a whole, or more just for, say, Saskatchewan?
That's a good question. Like the basics of what they need to spawn are known, but yes, it is difficult to find that in Saskatchewan, especially with the dams. So, like Gardner Dam, it alters the flow, it alters the temperature, the sediment, a whole bunch of things, and it's just they just don't have what they need, I guess.
Right. Okay. No, that's fair. And yeah, when you mentioned Gardner there, like we were talking before about people catch them, especially while walleye fishing, Sass Landing area. I've seen them myself ice fishing on Diefenbaker, and I mean, it's just probably could just be a story, but I have been told stories from a couple different parties of back when they were building the dam, and the underwater welders, I think it was, were going down there and coming up terrified because of these huge fish that were down there. Obviously they've been in that system for, like you said, it would be a very long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could only imagine, especially if they use different parts of that river system at different times of the year, right? And then you can't move up and
For
down
sure.
anymore. That really plays into it, and just water levels changing. The way they change in Diefenbaker, I'm sure, messes up things as well. Eh?
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, not just the water levels, but like I said, the sediment has a lot to do with it and the temperature. Like the water that's coming out of Diefenbaker is extremely cold coming out of that deep water from the bottom. So that really doesn't help them. They need that temperature trigger to spawn. I think it's like between 6 and 15 degrees Celsius that they like the water to be at when they spawn. And if it's just too cold, they're just not getting it.
Right. And if it's always being that cold, right, that temperature's not really changing when it's coming. Like
It
it's
just
always
takes
pretty
a
well
lot
probably the same
longer
temperature,
for,
right?
yeah, takes so much longer for it to warm up in the South Sask after Gardner.
Yeah. Right. No,
Right. So they're
that's fair.
always going upstream to do their spawning, right? Like they're always pushing up. Is that historically what they would normally do? Okay.
Yeah, typically, yeah. They leave their overwintering holes and they head upstream to find their spawning grounds and more food, basically. So they can't get too far on the South Sask. They'd be impeded mostly by the weir in Saskatoon first. There is a fish ladder there, but it's kind of a joke. And unless the water comes high, like in 2011 when the big high water came, the weir almost disappeared. I don't know if you guys remember that
Okay.
at all. So in that case, and cases like that, the sturgeon can get over it. But then what are they going to do? They're going to get to Gardner Dam. There's no amount of high water that's going to get them over that.
Right. Yeah. No, that's what we'd call impossible with
Yeah.
that one. And is a fish ladder for those bigs? Is a fish ladder really gonna work for those big ones?
No, that fish ladder doesn't work at all.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes it obviously more difficult as well. So that's, I mean, like you said, then trying to find newer places that they're going to be doing this. And if it's something that they've been doing for years in certain areas, and then the dams come in and weirs and whatever other human objects, that just obviously puts a wrench in the plans there. So that's
Yeah.
kind of, I mean, as always, that the human element's always one part of a reason for a or probably the main reason for most of the declines, right, that we do see in any any animals. I was just watching some of the Planet Earth stuff while I was eating supper today about the British Isles, and it's like their woodland population is like 1% of what it was however many years ago, and it's always the human element. But I wondered if there was maybe something else that was playing into it. But just like we were talking about before with the big mouth buffalo, they're not really great with their spawning as well, right? Based on their age and everything too. So the kind of those biological clocks aren't really helping when us humans come into play, right?
No, we've messed up a lot of animals.
Yeah. Not ideal, but I guess getting away from that and kind of obviously you're doing these studies to try and make a positive and understand things more. Kind of what would you want to talk about with the studies, I guess? What do you think or would be some of the more interesting stuff with that?
With this study, I think the recaps are very interesting to see how big they grow, how fast they grow, and where they travel to. So it's really neat to see some of the recaps we caught of like they haven't gone far at all. They've gone a couple kilometers and that's all. But then on the other hand, we catch some that have been tagged in Edmonton.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
those ones are really
That's a few
neat.
kilometers.
Yeah,
Just
so
a couple.
yeah, they put on a lot of miles when they go to spawn. They'll go almost as far as they can, kind of thing, till they find what they're
Right.
looking for.
What time of year are they spawning? Because I also
Spring.
Spring? Okay.
They like it. So they're usually triggered by a flow event, a high flow event. And what usually is when the mountain runoff comes through, the freshet.
Mm-hmm.
So June, early July kind of thing.
Okay.
And or not where, but which river system would you say they're most prevalent in as far as Saskatchewan goes?
I would say the north, personally. I don't see a
Okay.
whole lot caught in the south. Like they are, definitely. There's a lot of, I know out of Saskatoon, people catch them there and here and there along the South Sask, but the North Sask is consistent. There's lots around there, especially in like from the Forks to like the PA area, even past that a little bit. There.
I'm sure
Okay.
you probably see it like separate regions because of all the dams and the infrastructure, like certain regions doing better because like the South Saskatchewan closer to the Alberta border, I'm sure has a pretty
Yes.
good sturgeon
Yeah, so they're
population
actually
as
like,
opposed.
yeah, they're separated into different like management zones for like the Kasiwak national ranking. And each of those little sections has a different rating, like a different population estimate, and they're all like assessed differently.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I can't speak on the
You'd
ones
have
down
to.
there. I haven't heard too much about those. I'm more familiar with the ones in like around the Forks kind of thing is where we base out
Gotcha.
of, and it's where WSA has done a lot of its research for many years.
Right. No, that's fair. I do see on some of the Alberta fishing groups, like they get into some good sturgeon. And so I don't know if you've seen that as well, Jesse, but there seems to be a pretty good population there. And obviously it's good to see all sizes, right? You see some small ones, that means there's some spawning going on. And you see the big ones, you've got some older good spawners in the system as well. I guess what do you think, or maybe like kind of the average size range that you guys are seeing with these captures?
That's a really good question. I would have to say it would be around like the 35 to 40 inch range is very common. We catch a lot
Okay.
in that, but
No, that's
actually the last 2 years we've been catching a ton of little ones, which is almost more, actually no, I think it's more exciting than catching a big one because like it means they're spawning and that's fantastic.
fair. Yeah. No, for
I
sure.
get pretty
That's
excited
always
when
a
I
good
catch a
sign.
little guy.
And they're
Yeah, and that's-
adorable.
They're so cute and so sharp. Like they will
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
cut
going
you
to
up.
ask about that. I was going to ask because when I went out the one time sturgeon fishing, when you're catching the bigger ones, he said, like, what was it? The scoots? Is that the right name?
Yep, scoots. Yep.
Yeah. So he was saying how the bigger ones, they've been rolling around in the river more. They're not as sharp anymore. But he said the smaller ones are just crazy sharp. Eh?
They are razor blades. Like
Yeah,
it's like shark
absolutely, they're
teeth.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they absolutely are. They will cut you if you're not wearing gloves.
Yeah. Well, that's good to keep in mind for anyone listening that does get into one. And that was something Eve Bisden that I had on a long time ago, a couple of years ago. He was saying that basically when they're going out, they're targeting the bigger fish. And so when they were researching them in BC, they figured that there's a really low like they weren't spawning very much because all these sturgeon guys were tagging these big fish, right? Well, when they were targeting bigger fish, he's like, there is smaller ones out there. He said, if you want to come out with me for a day and we target small fish, we could do that. And he hadn't done it yet. This was, I don't know what year this was. I was out there with him. I think it was 2018, maybe something like that. But since then, I see on his stories and stuff, there is days where he goes out and they only target small ones, and they get into a mess of the small ones. But yes, they're just way sharper. They've got the way pointier nose, everything on them. But yeah, that's what he kind of said. And I don't know if maybe that could play into some people's thoughts here as well of only catching the bigger ones because they're only targeting bigger fish. I don't think you're supposed to technically target sturgeon, right, in the province, but they're bycatch.
You can catch them. It's fine. You just cannot keep them. You take your picture,
Right.
release them back, kind of thing. Like, you're not going to get in trouble if you reel in a sturgeon. You definitely not.
Right.
Just
yeah, and
don't
that's
take it
kind of, and not dismissing anything because fish handling is always important, but they're pretty hardy fish, are they not?
They are. Yep. They can handle a lot. Like, when they spawn, they literally go beat themselves up in rocks and beat against each other, and like, they can handle it. They're strong. They don't have like scales like a normal fish. They're like a modified scale. It's like armor. So they're pretty tough.
Okay. Right. And is their gill makeup a little different than, say, a walleye or a pike?
Yeah, why are their gills black?
They are dark. I have noticed that, but I don't know. Maybe it's just their diet or the fact that they're on the bottom more. That I really don't know, honestly. But
Yeah.
I can speculate.
Yeah, because Eve had told me when we were out, he said, before we knew anything back in the day, like if you caught a big sturgeon, all of the boats have cradles on the side of the net now, or side of the boat. But he said it used to be like guys would lasso the tail and pull it into shore for a picture. And he said you could find a sturgeon on shore that as long as its gills were still wet, you could put it back in the water and it would be fine. So the fish could not that you'd want it to, but could stay up on shore for over a day or 2 days kind of thing, as long as the gills remained wet. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, I've also heard similar stories where they can be out of the water for hours or however long, and they're still fine and they release just fine. So I've never had one out of the water more than a few minutes. Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah, no, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
That's right.
It's definitely be quick with it, and I mean, lots of the conditions that. Yes, yeah, and lots of the conditions I see that, like I said, I haven't really river fished much, and when I did, we were on rocks, so we didn't have to worry about the mud. But it looks like some of the muddiest, worst places to be messing around with the fish from from lots of the posts I've seen. I'm guessing you're dealing with that like every day.
Oh, yeah, I live in the mud.
That's fair. I've heard of like quicksand, almost quicksand like mud and stuff, especially in between Buffalo and Diefenbakers. So I imagine it's no different in other places in the province too.
Oh yeah, I've been doing a lot of work this summer on the Lower Capel, like after Round Lake between there and the Manitoba border, and I tell you what, that is the muddiest place I've ever seen in my life. You can't get anywhere near the shoreline without sinking down to your knees. It makes trying to net a fish really fun.
Yeah, so I guess for capturing, are you guys using nets or are you also using rod and reel?
Mostly rod and reel.
Okay.
Yeah, no, in what I've done is almost all rod and reel. We did a little bit of netting for like the young of the year ones last year, but we didn't get any doing that method. And I think rod's just as good as anything. But then you're just getting the active fish, which is kind of different. You're not getting any of the passive fish. But you're still catching them. You're still whatever. And we use the same rigs, and we catch the itty bitty guys and the big ones on the same hooks. So, like you were saying earlier about targeting the big ones and targeting the small ones, we just target sturgeon and get them.
Right. Yeah. No, that's fair. So, is there much being found for sturgeon? Obviously, if you're spending most of your time there, I'm guessing you're coming across some.
Like at the Forks area, yes. It's pretty consistent catching. It's not too often that we go a day without catching any kind of thing. And also, like for other people, like there's the recreation point that people come down and fish. We usually set up like on the north side of the Forks where people can't really get to, the public. But the public catch a lot, I guess, at the Forks at the rec site. And we'll run over there and tag them for them and get their information, and they get to name the fish in the database, and they get all excited.
Oh, that's
Nice.
sweet. That'd be a good time. So
It is fun.
with that, like my family cabin is at Buffalo Pound. So are they having to pass through Buffalo to get to there? Is this how this is working?
Sorry, I'm talking about the forks like on the North Saskatchewan, South Saskatchewan, not in the Qu'Appelle.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Fort Qu'Appelle.
Sorry, no, I kind of jumped back and forth there. My bad. Yeah, no, I've been working in the Qu'Appelle doing more catfish stuff this year, but
okay.
I have been to the Saskatchewan system a couple times this year. It's been a little less sturgeon stuff, but we still try to sneak it in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, this all makes more sense now. I was going to say,
Yeah,
if I'm
sorry.
somehow missing out on sturgeon in Buffalo, I'm not going to be happy.
I
Not
had
as
no
far as I
idea. I was
know.
like, Logan, what are you thinking, man?
Yeah. No, I'm lost.
Well,
Lost.
they are in the Qu'Appelle system. Every once in a while, somebody will post that they've caught sturgeon in the Qu'Appelle system.
Yep.
And that's really
I
interesting.
mean, if they're in Deef, they could technically be, whatever's in Deef could technically make its way to Buffalo. So.
And they come up from Manitoba. It's a little easier for them to come that way to get into the, say, like Round Lake. The dam's not really big for them to get up into Round Lake or Crooked kind of thing. I've been working at Round Lake a little bit this year, and the locals say that, yeah, every once in a while they'll catch one in the lake or just outside in the river. So that's interesting.
Very neat.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So do you know, as far as, like obviously there's the population stuff we talked about in Saskatchewan, do you know if this is also a concern in Manitoba and in Alberta, kind of across the board?
That
I know
I
you'd
don't.
mentioned like North America wise, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know specifically about other provinces. I just know, like, nationally that they are endangered. Their status is actually pending right now through COSEWIC to see if they need to be put on the Species at Risk Act to be even further protected to help them out a little more. But that status has been pending for a handful of years. I want to say since 2017. So we're just waiting to see what the verdict is on that.
Right. And what would that look like as far as more protection compared to what they have now?
I guess if it becomes listed, people who manage waterways like WSA, they would need to reevaluate their operating plans to ensure compliance with not an endangered species, but a species at risk. It might result in changes to dam operations for species recovery, but that'll be when the time comes, they'll kind of deal with it, I guess. Until then, I don't really know what would happen. Like I said, like those fish ladders, you could do something like that, but not exactly that because they're horrible. But like a fish way where they can actually pass through would help them out. And
right.
Yeah, just tighter regulations. That might be when you're not allowed to like even target them.
Right. Yeah, and I guess as far as like obviously the pickle rig's very common in the river. That's gonna it'll catch anything. So there's only so much you can do with that. But then there's the beefing up your pickle rig and your hooks and all that. And obviously you're like a walleye's not gonna eat that or a sauger's not gonna eat that. So kind of obvious what you're targeting, right?
Yeah. I'm
no,
not a fan of pickle rigs. they just
You
I
probably
don't
see-
use them, but
Yeah, you probably see a
Like,
lot
if
of them
you
too,
know-
just washed up on the beach and stuff.
Oh, bags. I've collected bags and bags this summer. It's sad how many just specific pickerel rigs are just laying around because they break. They're not good. They're not strong. They're just going to break, and then people just leave them everywhere. Pick up your trash.
There's a reason they're $1.99 at Walmart. They suck.
Yeah, don't use them. They're horrible. Like,
You mean
honestly,
they're not
we use
quality?
big gear, and we still catch small fish. Like, we still catch awesome walleye, lots of walleye, suckers, whatever you want. We catch all kinds of fish on sturgeon rigs. Like, you can beef up your rigs and still catch small fish. But if you know you're in
When
an
you're
area
fishing in a
that
murky,
has
muddy
sturgeon,
water,
just beef up.
yeah.
That's a good point. More people
It's
should.
just general education with that, right? Like, I mean, if you're someone who doesn't know as much, you're just getting into fishing, you're probably going to go to a Walmart because I don't know, that's kind of where you can get everything, right? And you're going to grab a rod that's not meant for sturgeon, but you're going to see, something with two hooks. And it's like Jesse said, $1.99. Oh, that's nice and cheap. And I'll buy some worms too. And then you're set, right? And it's kind of easy to fall into that if you don't know any better, right?
For sure it is. Yeah, it's easy to go the cheap way, but don't do that. Think of the fish.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're
Yeah,
hardy, but like
exactly.
still, like take your time with them. Take the right precautions. Use the right gear. Beef up your gear, and you'll still catch all kinds of fish.
Yeah, exactly. No, you can't go wrong having the right gear for the job. It's kind of the same as when you're tip up fishing. Like, don't be using 10-pound DAC rod and be beefing her up to, I don't know what you run, Jesse, but like I usually run like a 50, 60, something like that. I don't know how high they go, right? Kind of being smart with that. But yeah, getting back to the sturgeon, is there anything else you wanted to know, Jesse?
You had said earlier that they don't spawn every year. What's your best guess? Like, are they spawning every second year, every third year? Do you know for sure?
Depends on how old they are, male or female. Females typically every 2 to 7 years once they've reached that sexual maturity, and males are like 1 to 4 years typically.
Okay. That's fair. And with that, on the same kind of note, do you know much about their feeding habits? Like, are they constantly feeding, or is it like they'll take a big meal and they can go quite a while without feeding? Is there any insight to that?
You know that I do not know. They're just kind of like, scavengers, so they don't really take huge meals, if that makes sense. Their diet is basically invertebrates, like they eat bugs mostly. So you're not going to get like a
Okay.
giant bug or a big batch of bugs. Like I would say they're grazers instead of just like a big meal sit down kind of thing.
Right. Well, that's fair. I was just wondering about that because, again, my only experience was out in BC, and I know they will use some pretty big stuff as far as like fish head or whatever, stuff like that. But
Right.
those fish out there also have a mouth the size of a 5-gallon pail, if not
Yeah,
bigger.
they're huge.
So yeah, a little bit different there. So yeah, with spawning like that, it's not too conducive to successfully grow the population that was decimated by people, right?
Yeah. It's really hard for them to regain their population. Like I said, like all the big females were taken. Like, and it is mostly like the females are bigger, like typically in the animal kingdom. The spawning females tend to be bigger, and that's where our females go, like where they did for a long time up until like, I want to say it's 20 years ago, but that's close to 30 years ago, which is hard to think of, in the late 90s.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. So as far as the studies go, what's kind of in the future for this? Is it just kind of more of the same, or is there some plans to do, like, I know the research group has done some acoustic tagging. Is that anything that happens now or might happen in the future?
I'd like to see something like that. They did do telemetry studies back in the day, and like with radio antennas, they could kind of find out where they were. But that was quite a while ago, and as far as I know, there's not any plans to do anything like that. Just kind of continue with what we're doing.
Right. No, that's fair. That's fair. And I was just wondering about that because, I mean, the people who actually know how this works probably might be shaking their head right now at me. But from what I understand, what they did at Buffalo, it's kind of will ping once they had the buoys out, and it'll ping once it's gone past the buoy. Is that correct? So I feel like in a river you could set that up. Not bad if you like. Right, rivers they're big enough, but I don't know what the range is on those things as far as the radius. But I feel like you
I
could
can't
set
remember
up
what
kind of
the
a relay.
radius is. Yeah, you can set up an array. Say if they only go in a small radius, you can set up a few. If you know there's like a pinch point, then you know you're going to get them when they go by, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. No, that's fair. That'd be something that'd be interesting to see. And I mean, it might just confirm what you're already saying. They're stuck in between different structures, and they just kind of maybe go back and forth in that area because they have no choice, right? But if there was a big long stretch, it'd be interesting to see kind of what happens there and where they go. I always like to think back. It would be interesting just to see what everything did before there was anything, whether it's barbed wire fences, dams, whatever, right? Cities, just to see how things actually move. But obviously can't do that. Can't do that
Absolutely.
anymore.
No, that would be super cool to see, like just a flashback in time to see how the river actually flowed and like the different flow regimes that it would get. Like the South Sask, at one point, it was recorded that the South Sask would get higher and more turbid than the North Sask. Like that's
Okay.
crazy to think for me. Like because it's such like, to me, it's a lazy river, is what I like to call it. Coming out of Gardner Dam, it's a lazy, slow-moving river, and it's kind of a little baby compared to the North Sask. So to think that it was stronger than the North, that would be something to see. And I couldn't imagine like where the sturgeon would go. Like if it was that much of more of a flow, the sturgeon probably went up there to spawn, and now they can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I always think like the most recent one I can remember was the floods of 2014, I think. Like flooded Calgary. That was a pretty high water year, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Jesse, you don't remember that?
No, I wasn't really paying much attention to the rivers back then.
I just remember because my uncle would fish the Bow, and it blew out all the spots that he used to fish. Like it just totally changed the river, and just was wild. And obviously that eventually makes its way down to Deef and everything like that. And about there, I think they were figuring out kind of when the flow is going to come and about letting water out. And I think it even raised the levels at Buffalo, like once again downstream, and just kind of changed things all the way down here from the mountains and everything there. So it is crazy how things can change. But I was curious, what's the biggest sturgeon you've personally caught while doing this?
It was last summer, actually. I caught a 55-pound, 60-inch old girl. That was one of my favorite. It's actually a recap. I didn't get to tag it because it already had tags in it. And that was a really neat recap story. It had been tagged in 2011. So it was just a little guy. Yeah, and in 13 years, it grew 41.3 pounds, which was insane. And it grew from 26 inches to 60 inches and 8 inches around. Like, just blew up.
That's actually huge growth compared to what we've heard about other species growing. That's insane.
Yeah, like, so this is just a guess. I have no backing. Well, I have a little backing on this, but I would have guessed that one is not a spawner yet. So before they start spawning, they'll just grow and grow and grow until they reach sexual maturity. Then they basically stop growing and put all their efforts into spawn, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if that one grew that much in that window of time, it was a pretty big window, but it grew a lot. I would guess that it's not spawning yet. And for like a 60-inch fish to not be spawning is something. Or maybe it had by that point, but that's still a lot of weight to put on.
Right. No, that's for sure. Cool. And I guess with that, are you guys finding many dead sturgeon on your travels throughout the river? None? Yeah.
None. I've never seen a dead one. I've never heard of a dead one being found either.
Which that's positive.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, for sure.
I was side note, I just got back from Ontario this weekend for a wedding, and on Sunday or Saturday we did the Niagara Falls kind of tour just to see it. And we were going out on the boat. There was like a 28, 29-inch dead walleye in the swirl behind the boat. And I'm like, what are the odds of that?
Wow.
There's a big walleye there, but like it makes me like, you see dead pike, dead suckers, dead carp, dead walleye all the time, right? But to never really come across a sturgeon, obviously some of the river stuff could come into that, but that's pretty insane. And you don't really hear about it. I don't see pictures of it online hardly ever.
Now that you say that, I don't think I ever have heard of it or seen it either. Huh.
That's a positive.
Yeah, that's good news.
Yeah. No, for sure. I had thought of something else, but I forgot what never mind. Came back. As far as, like you said, using the right gear, like what would you say would be like the minimum requirements that people should be, if you're in a area where sturgeon are likely, like kind of what should you be running for that to play it safe?
Bigger is better, honestly. We run 80-pound braid, and we use like 80-pound mono leaders with just like 4/0 hooks on them. Big. We use big stuff. Like in the history of this project, there has been 100-pound sturgeon caught. I didn't see that one, but on my crew 2 years ago, we caught a 80-pound sturgeon, a 65-inch. That was insane. That was a fight.
That's a monster.
Took 35 minutes to bring it in with proper gear. So I couldn't imagine if we had a pickerel rig to try and bring that in. I don't even know if it would have.
Yeah. No doubt. So this is more of like a slip sinker rig kind of thing?
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Kind
And
of
just,
a
yeah,
beefed up catfish rig in a sense.
exactly. I literally use the exact same thing, like the same hook on my rod for catfish.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Then like you said, having the proper rod and reel too. Like you're not going to be wanting using a 6.6 medium to be fighting these
Yeah.
fish, right? So that's
No,
another
you
thing
want
to consider.
big is good. Yeah, get a
Yeah. And
beefy
you're also
rod.
fighting the current as well, right?
Yeah, that's fun too.
Yeah.
They like
So
to hang out in the current, so you're fighting the big fish in the current. That's exciting. And then they like to dive into rocks and get snagged and still be hooked on the line, and they just gotta wait till they pull it out, kind of thing.
yeah. And
Oh,
you
they're
guys
they're exciting to fight for sure.
Oh
and
yeah,
that the one thing to consider too is it's being done from shore. So like when I did the Fraser ones, like they were 8'6" and 8'5" were our two biggest, but like we would pull up the anchor and you'd move with this fish and it was still a 20-minute fight, 20 to 30-minute fight, still in the proper gear. But like when you got that current, like you can only do so much. Once they know what they're doing and use that current, it's totally changes the fight. And you guys, are you ever doing it from a boat or is it just shore?
yeah. No, we do lots from the boat. Actually, probably more from the boat.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a
Oh, that's
couple
sweet. Makes me want to go catch a sturgeon.
nice river boats that we work out of.
Nice.
Got all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
sweet. Jesse, up where you're from, have you targeted many sturgeon?
I have. Got a few of them like close to home around the Peyton Ferry in the day,
yeah.
but I actually do. My most recent sturgeon fishing has all been down by Leader, pretty much right by estuary, like right by the border of Alberta and Saskatchewan, is where my last few trips have been. But I haven't caught a sturgeon in like 3 or 4 years, so long overdue. So I think, Logan, we might have to plan a trip this fall somewhere.
Come on out.
I'd be down. It's almost
Yeah.
like you're
Oh, it's a
gone all
good
summer
time.
and most of fall.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know who to hit up for some waypoints, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Give me a call.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I guess as far as anyone who does catch one and maybe they're not sure about what to do, how, if they did catch a tagged one, what's the process there for letting you guys know?
So unfortunately, our tags that are visible don't actually have any contact information on them. So hopefully next time we get some new ones that do. But right now you can contact my supervisor, Ian
Okay.
Phillips. I can send you the information, but his email is iain.phillips@wsask.ca. So Ian Phillips at WSASK. And yeah, send him an email. And if you can get as much information as you can, like any measurements, location, like we're not asking for your fishing spot, but just a general location of where you caught it and when, kind of thing. And pictures are a bonus. And
Mm-hmm.
the tag number also is very important, so we know which one we're looking at.
That is key.
Okay. Okay. And so you said that the contact information isn't on the tags right now?
No, unfortunately, it's not.
Oh, okay. I see.
Where
So
are
at
the
least
it
there's
does
a number.
say-
located on
but-
the fish?
They do say we put them kind of beside their dorsal fin, kind of at the back, almost at their tail. But they do say WSA research fish, or the old ones say SWA. So like you can go through avenues to like go through WSA, or you can just contact Ian. So if
Yeah.
somebody found one,
No,
they
that's-
didn't really know who, they might contact the Ministry of Environment also, because they have their own sturgeon tagging. There
Okay.
actually is a couple
Okay.
different
Oh, that
outfits around
makes
the
sense.
province who do sturgeon tagging too. There's the one out of Sask Poly, and there's the Ministry of Environment, and one other one I can't think of. You scratch that.
Okay. No, that's fine. And like you said, obviously the length's important. Probably not wanting people to take a weight. Like there's got probably a certain way you guys prefer to do that, and it's maybe not the most accurate way unless you've got your guys' stuff.
A lot of people are going to just use their lip hooks to weigh fish, and I don't agree with that.
Right.
But if you have a cradle, absolutely give them a weight.
Mm-hmm.
But even doing them in a net isn't that great, unless it's just a little guy. That might be acceptable. But if you got a big one, don't weigh it in the net. Also, it might wreck your net. We've done that. Trying to like pick them up with the net, they go right through it.
Right. Yeah, that nose doesn't help with that.
No, and the scutes too. That just cuts right through anything.
Oh,
And
true.
then they
Yeah, no,
thrash
that's
about
fair.
and they just,
Yeah.
they destroy stuff. They're
Yeah,
hard on
no,
equipment.
so that's you can find cradles at Cabela's and the Fishing Hole. I'm pretty sure. I
Yes.
think I picked mine up at one of those two places, which have been
Yep,
great
that's
for
what we
March
used.
Madness pike in the live well. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. No, so those are a good way to do it. And no,
Yeah,
it's
I
always
love
good to
cradles.
let people
You
know.
don't
I
have to
know.
take them out of the water at all.
True. Yeah, you can just let them sit there. No, they're great for that if you are planning on weighing fish. Like even I would even do walleye in it, depending on what your net's like. For walleye, just as far as the way you're maybe bending them, kind of thing. But like you said, any of that stuff's better than the gill or lip hooks,
Don't
right?
do the gill.
So
The lip thing is not great either. I don't like that, especially for the sturgeon. Like
Yeah,
their
it's
mouth
scary.
is like inferior, right? You're not gonna like lift them up right up, and no, I don't like that.
yeah, no, for sure. We'd have to agree with that. And no, I just wanted to see kind of what you guys would all want there, because obviously with the citizen science aspect of it, that that helps a ton. And even when you said like we don't need to know your spot, you guys probably know most of the spots anyway, so it's not like it's really anything too new for you,
You've
right?
got a good
So
idea.
I mean, yeah. So and you guys got enough spots to fish, not like you're gonna go burn someone's spot kind of thing, right? So that's
Exactly.
kind of one thing to consider too. But obviously, people's spots are one of the biggest things with fishing, so people like to keep those secret. But I mean, anytime I've caught a tag fish, if Chris wants a pin, I'll give him the exact coordinates of, of where it was
Oh,
caught.
yeah.
Like, why
I
not?
don't care.
Yeah.
I have nothing to hide.
Yeah,
I've
it's
also
also a
caught
good
some of Chris's
cause.
fish too, and it's like, yes, I will tell you exactly where I caught it.
Yeah. What have you caught from him? Just some walleye or some pike?
No, largemouth bass, boundary.
Oh,
I actually caught
I
it the
see.
day after he tagged it. Hungry little buggers, I guess.
Dang.
That's sweet. Were you just
Yeah,
fishing down
they're
there, or were you
crazy.
working down there?
No, that was just for fun. I used to live kind of down in that area and fish Rafferty and Boundary a lot.
Right. Yeah, because they only started tagging those a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I want to say it was one of the first rounds that he did. That was maybe 2016 that I caught that one.
Oh, okay. No, that's sweet. Yeah, I didn't even I forgot totally about the bass project that they have going down there. So no, that's a new one.
Have
You're
you
the
ever
first person
been?
that I've actually heard of. Yes, not caught a tagged one though. I've only I
Okay.
don't think I've been for like probably at least 3 years now. But yeah, I had made a couple trips, would do like 1 or 2 trips down there. Not that was before. If I went now, I feel like I'd be a lot more successful there. But like the first time we went there, all we caught was ones the size of my thumb, like downsized to the smallest drop shot you could get. And like I don't know if they're that big, would that be the young of the year kind of thing?
It could be, yeah. It absolutely could be.
Yeah, they were tiny. Like we were cutting the plastics to make them small enough to fit on like the smallest hook for the
Goodness.
drop shot. Like I was like, I don't know, is this what this place has? Is this what it has to offer? And then go back the next time, I'm like, what were we wasting our time with
Oh,
last time?
Logan.
That's funny.
Yeah, I
No,
was
they
out to
do
lunch
get
the
nice
first
in
time
there.
Yeah, no, there is some good size like that to have like I don't know. Lots of the size I see seems to be around that 18-inch mark. Would that be fair?
Yeah. I've caught a few like 5-6 pounders out of there. That's about the biggest I've had, but that's fun. They fight like crazy.
They do, yeah. I hadn't caught a bass at all, any kind of bass up to that point, and that was pretty sweet. Jesse, I'm guessing you haven't been down there based on how far it is for you.
I've yet to get down there, but it's just another one of those fisheries that is on my list. I got to get down there. You know what, Logan? We'll scratch the
cool.
sturgeon. We'll go catch largemouth bass first. Get
We do
that.
both.
Yeah, well, yeah, we could.
That's true. We could
do a lot of road
yeah.
tripping.
No doubt that would be a lot of road tripping, but it is pretty sweet down there. It's definitely a different style of fishing, and the number of walleye you come across fishing for them too is actually pretty crazy.
Yeah.
In a way that I wouldn't fish for them ever really in any other lake. But maybe it's to do with the makeup of that lake. But it seems lots of that lake seems to be like 0 to say 8-10 feet, and then a drop off, and like pretty steep drop off, and then pulling lots of the walleye off of that too. So I guess it kind of makes sense, but you're not targeting the deeper water, and for the most part, and yeah, it's
Not
kind
for
of
bass,
you never know
no.
what it's going to be. Yeah, so no, it's definitely a cool thing, and hopefully they're able to stay around. Obviously, you don't know what's happening with the coal and everything there, but
Yeah, I don't know, but I do hope they hold on. It's pretty unique
Be
fishery.
nice.
Yeah, it's one of a kind here anyways.
Yeah,
It's a nice
no,
little
for
treat.
sure. Yeah, 3 hours from Moose Jaw, so not terrible, but kind of be more of a good weekend trip, and whatever that would be
Yeah.
for you, Jesse, 8 hours. Something
Yeah,
like that.
I think it's 8.5 or 9. It's a long ways when I am home. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a
No,
wonderful
that's
campground there. It's beautiful.
yes. Is that where the big point is? Kind of by the by the outflow of the hot water.
Yeah, like right across from that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. I guess Jesse, we're almost at an hour here. Was there anything else you had for Courtney?
I was a little curious to go back to their diet of the sturgeon again. You said you mentioned that they just eat bugs mostly. Like, are we talking invertebrates? Are we talking like beetles? Are we talking, what are we talking? Like larvae? Like, just more on
Honestly,
their diet. I'm kind of curious
they're
on.
kind of vacuums. Invertebrates is their main diet. They'll
Okay.
just kind of suck up anything that they find. I found a lot of like pea clams coming out of them when we catch big ones. So they eat
Yeah.
tiny little mussels,
Interesting.
which is really interesting to see.
And then
I mean,
I've heard
Go ahead.
they will feed on crayfish as well. Like, have you seen many of that as well?
I haven't, but I would not be surprised. Not at all. Actually,
Okay.
yeah, I have heard of studies using crayfish as bait to feed their sturgeon, and they seem to like them.
no, they got like a crusher in their mouth, do they not?
That
Or am I
don't know.
off with that? I thought they had
They have
some way to crush, but maybe not.
That I don't know.
I could be totally wrong.
They have
I'm
a
also not sure. Yeah.
weird vacuum mouth, is what I call it. Just a big suction tube that comes up and down.
That's
But
I
I
might
do
just be
know
totally out
that
to
they
lunch
like
with that.
worms.
I take it back. Sorry,
True.
we're going back. I take it back. No, sturgeon do not crush their food. They use a
Okay.
vacuum like
All right.
suction to swallow food whole.
Well, that makes
There you
sense. Like the pea clams that I found, they've been intact. So they're just sucking them right out and out the other end,
Okay.
not crushing them.
Peat clam. What is a peat clam? Like, that's not like the regular
pea
big
clam.
clam.
They're just a tiny little mussel that's in our waterways. I can't remember what their name is right now. It's slipping my mind. But they're tiny little white guys, and they're maybe the size of like a dime at the biggest. Like they're itty bitty
Ah.
guys.
So these are not the same clams that you see washed up on the beach that are like, this
No,
a
that'd
golf,
be
a baseball
different
size.
kind. Yeah, that'd be a
Gotcha.
different one.
I'd like to come back
That's
on
actually
this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, this says here, there's links to it as well, but it says, after swallowing, the food is crushed into smaller pieces by a strong muscular stomach or internal crushing plates located in the back of the throat. Now, I don't know what species of sturgeon they're talking here. Maybe it's different, but
Right.
who knows?
Well, there you go. But that's got me thinking now. Like, maybe I should be using like oysters or something as bait one time.
Maybe. I'm
If
not
they're
gonna lie,
feeding on
I
that.
ran out of bait and I used a slice of pepperoni and it caught. They like pepperoni.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
are they using scent, or is it all to do with their by feel?
Well, they use their barbels. They got 4 giant barbels that come off their face, and they like use those to feel around and smell and feel things. And so they're really,
Okay.
yeah, they are driven by smell. So if you use something pungent like that, like a pepperoni or an oyster, perhaps. I don't know about an oyster. I feel like it'd maybe fall apart on you.
Well, I was thinking I'd put it in a cheesecloth and wrap it up and then stretch
Okay.
it, like rubber band it to the
Yeah.
hook, like an
Dedicated.
egg sack.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
That
do
might
know
work.
egg sacks. Out in BC, they will use roe for sturgeon as well. So
I
It
don't
probably
see why
depends on
not.
the time of year.
Yeah,
if they are like vacuums,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Eggs are where the
No.
groceries are. That's where all your nutrients are. That'd be a good little snack for them.
especially if they're just flowing downstream and you're pointed up into it, waiting for it to to come to
Exactly.
you as well. Or if you do find a spawning location of whatever that species may be, then you could just vacuum around there. Like the one I have recorded, you can see it sucking up, and you can see, I guess, I don't know if you want to say particles or what, coming
Mhm.
out of its mouth and almost out of its gills when it's sucking around. So it's definitely, I don't know if that'd be filter feeding or what through there, but it is vacuuming up stuff
That
pretty
might
good.
also go back to why their gills are probably tainted and like darker is because they're always sifting that mud while they're eating.
That's a
We
good
might have
point.
just answered our own question.
Yeah, we might have just discovered something.
There's someone listening that knows.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
be
I'm
corrected.
sure I'll be
hopefully.
corrected on that.
And then also, I'm curious to touch on a little bit of their winter habits and where they hang out, because this is like a really far back connection, but through a mutual friend of my brother, he was a fishing guide and kind of citizen science researcher out of Medicine Hat, and they had found, and this is like really, I'm not sure if this is true, but you can tell me. They found that in the wintertime, basically 98% of the sturgeon were like in one deep water hole. They all just went to basically the deepest part of the river. Is there any truth to that? Like, is that pretty much what they're looking for? Is just some deep water?
Yep. Yeah, there's holes all along both of the rivers, mostly the North Sask, that get fairly deep. Like we found one the other day that was like 30 feet deep. That was totally unexpected. So like places like that is probably where they're going to overwinter, where the temperature's a little bit more mild and there's still food down there. And and then they just hang out all together. But we're still trying to figure out more about their overwintering habits. It's still kind of a mystery. So that is one thing, like I said earlier, I wasn't sure what we're doing in the future. That's one thing we would like to do in the future, is look more into what they're doing under the ice.
Right. And for that, would you still angle for them, or would you set a net for them? I don't know.
Netting would be cool. We've just chatted about it, and like it would be very difficult to get a gill net under the ice in the river, for one.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a lake, it's okay because you don't have the current to fight with, but getting a gill net down in the river would be a chore, I think.
Unless you're in a really slack water.
Yeah. No, exactly. You'd find an eddy or something, but it's got to be the right depth too, right?
Yeah,
because they are going to be into those deeper holes. And the other thing is trying to pull up a gill net if it has a big sturgeon in it, or two. Like that would just be crazy. Like, you'd need a giant hole and try not to fall in that, and like
sketchy ice conditions.
I think it would be super cool to try and do that, but it would be a lot of angling and just a mix, I guess, of angling and netting would be the way to go.
I think live scope could help a lot.
Absolutely. We have something that's similar to a live scope, but honestly, I think live scope would be the way to go.
Just the way you could scan a river, especially if you know depths. Like I don't know if you guys have much for maps, and I know rivers change and everything, but yeah, if you knew where your deeper areas were and you could go down, you put that, like a sturgeon's big enough, if you put that out 100, 150 feet, you're probably going to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Absolutely. We do have a good idea of where the holes are.
Go ahead, Courtney.
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, it's funny you brought that up, because like a minute before this, as soon as she started mentioning like deep holes and search and fishing in the river sort of thing, I had thought, I know what I want to do this winter. Another thing I want to do now is, my brother's got a jet boat and he's been on the river, and I'll talk to him, see where all his deep holes have been, and then I'll take my live scope down there this winter and scan around. And then 60 seconds later, you're like, oh, a live scope would work really well. And I'm like, yeah, it'd be so sweet.
There is videos from guys in Manitoba. Well, like Aaron Weeb has one from years ago, and I think they had to go to the U.S. side. But I mean, and that was before live scope. I mean, you could theoretically. I don't know why that wouldn't work, and could also be a huge help for if you were trying to target them as well.
Oh,
I would always just be worried about ice conditions. I don't know what the river ice conditions are like in the winter.
Sketchy.
Variable, yeah.
Yes. Variable. You need to really test your ice. You got to have the right gear. Like, be prepared. Have friends. Don't do it alone. Like, do it smart.
Yeah, Jesse.
Like,
Jesse would be doing it alone.
I 100% would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, don't do it.
I'll invite my brother. I'll invite Cody. I need his GPS coordinates anyway, so I might as well bring him along.
Make him go first.
Yeah. I'll hold the rope. You walk out there.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, I don't know if I have anything else. I like we said at the start, don't know a lot about this, as I'm sure some people could tell listening too, just with some of our questions. But did you have anything else before we wrap it up? Or Courtney, did you have anything else you wanted to touch on before we wrap it up?
I don't know. I feel like we talked about most of what I do.
Yeah. No,
Not
that's
too much
we
other
want
ones, yeah.
we wanted to stick to sturgeon on this one because that is a pretty interesting topic in itself, and we know there is other stuff that you are working on, but we might just have to have that for another episode anyways to touch on that, because it is kind of
Maybe.
cool that you're dealing with you're dealing with lots of the stuff that aren't as common of species. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that would make for some interesting stuff. But looks like Jesse, you maybe got some.
I was gonna say it's nice to shed light on the underdogs, or the fish that don't get recognized as well as across the province.
Absolutely.
Right? They need some love too. So
Exactly. No, I honestly, before doing this job, I hadn't even caught a sturgeon. Uh, but after catching a couple, like, you fall in love with them. They're so unique and they have such a personality, like such a cool fish. Like, I can't even explain how cool they are. Like, every fish has such a personality, and some of them are so docile and like polite, I swear.
yeah,
And others are crazy and they want to just smack you in the face. They're pretty
Or
cool.
cut you.
Yeah, they all want to cut you, especially the
amazing.
little ones.
Yeah, no, that'd be sweet. I wish we had them around me here. Just not lucky enough for that, but we'll have to make some trips. Me and Jesse, we can meet up and we can maybe go find some there. But no, we really appreciate you taking some time out of your day. You are actually, I don't know if we even said it in this interview, but me and you actually ended up in the same city here. Oddly enough for that, with you being down here in Moose Jaw.
Coincidence.
Yeah, no, but hopefully you're having fun with the big mouth buffalo and everything there, and get back to some sturgeon eventually. Get back to your happy place with those ones, and yeah, we'll follow along. I guess, where can people find you on Instagram? That was kind of one of the things I wanted to mention
Instagram,
too.
I think my handle is c.cherpin, Cherpin, or just search my name, Courtney Cherpin, probably come up.
Yeah,
Once in a
for
while,
sure.
I'll post
There's
a sturgeon picture or something of what I'm doing at work, and mostly fish related stuff.
Okay,
Perfect.
and I guess as well, if people were curious, is there any like papers or any findings that are posted through your work?
There was the State of the Sturgeon report that came out in like 2012. That should be able to find that online somewhere. I can't say as to where exactly. In the last few years, we've been working on the State of the Lake Sturgeon report from 2020 to 2024, and we're just in the works of like wrapping that up, kind of thing, and hopefully that'll get published soon. And that's
Cool.
the project
Something to
that
look
I've
forward
been
to.
working on. So yeah.
Yeah, well, have to let us know once it does come out, and we can push that as well. But no, big
sure.
thanks for coming on and taking time in your evening, and like Jesse said, shedding some light on maybe for sure a lesser known species and lesser caught species, especially for lots of our listeners. I think obviously there's the common ones, the walleye, the pike, whatever. But yeah, getting into some of those river species was definitely pretty sweet, and something we'll have to talk about more in the future. And hopefully you guys keep finding stuff out and bring more knowledge to the forefront for the sturgeon.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. This is great. Thanks for having me on. I love the opportunity. And I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Courtney.
Yeah, no problem.
Episode 100 in the books. Officially 100 episodes down. As I mentioned in the intro, thank you to everyone who has listened to these episodes for this journey that we've been on here. It's been pretty well 5 years in the making now to get to this episode 100. And it's definitely been a fun journey. Learned a ton. For this episode in itself, big thank you to Courtney for taking time out of her evening to come on the show, talk some sturgeon. Like Jesse mentioned there near the end, it's kind of interesting because this is lesser known species, right? Don't know as much about it, especially just as the fishing side of things goes. Not as common of a catch. And yeah, it's definitely pretty cool getting to learn some of this information, and excited to see what else they come up with from these studies in the future.
Yeah, I think they're doing great research, and we're learning a ton, and there's still a lot left to learn. But man, I thought it was crazy how an adult sturgeon might take 2 to 7 years between spawning.
Yeah,
That's boggling to me. No, but I mean, it kind of It must be because they've been around for 250 million years or whatever. 250. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
she said,
250 million, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, she said something like that, I thought.
It was million or thousand. Million seems like a lot.
It
But
does.
maybe
Listen, we'll have to listen
gonna,
back.
Gonna have to listen back.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, so it's worked. But like 2 to 7 years between to just build up energy and build up eggs, like that was pretty crazy to me. And then also like just to reflect back a bit on the handling of them, and yeah, they're a tough, durable animal, and I would really like to reinforce the fact that just because you could pick them up onto the bank and drag them by their tail and mishandle them and forget about them in the sun for half a day does not mean you should. And you should, yeah, just really respect them and yeah, give as much love to these dinosaurs as you would a 30-inch walleye or
exactly.
a 45-inch pike, right? These are old fish and they need our help.
Yeah, no point in stressing them and doing more than you need to, right, with that. So just because you can doesn't mean you should. You want to take care of any fish really that you handle. There's no point in adding stress. And just like we learned in the Chris Summers episode, like some of those walleye are crazy old, the pike crazy old, right? Like you don't think about it, but that leaves a big hole in a population to replace it. It takes a long time to replace that. So yeah that's a good thing to mention there, Jesse. And yeah, I don't know if I have too much more here on the outro. It was episode 100, another one in the books, another one down. Presenting sponsor, 13 Fishing Canada. As always, since the start of this show, since the inception, you can use the code Weekend Warriors, save yourself 15% off anything on the Rapala Canada website, whether it's clothes, lures, augers, rods, reels, tools, knives. The list goes on and on. There's a lot of great stuff on the website there. But yeah, head over there, use the code, save yourself some money, get ready for some fall fishing here. Maybe already thinking about early ice. Who knows? Days are getting shorter. We're getting closer to that time than we are getting farther away from it. So it's
true.
Times are changing, seasons are changing. But yeah, big thanks for tuning into this episode and all the ones before that. And we'll catch you in the next one.